Hello everyone. I am quite nervous to make this video, to be honest. It's been quite a while since I wanted to make one. I don't know if I'll be able to talk properly or not. But this video is quite a big deal to me and it's near and dear to my heart. I really want to share my story of how I became vegan, how I first started finding out about veganism and my journey towards it, because it wasn't a quick decision. I want to put a disclaimer out there before I begin telling my story, because I don't want this video to come across as me telling anybody what to do with their life decisions. I'm not here to judge anyone. I respect anyone who's not vegan, who's pescatarian, who's a vegetarian, whatever. Like, it doesn't, for me, it's more of a personal decision. So I guess I'll start by sharing how I was prior to knowing about veganism. As silly as it may sound to some of you, but I grew up thinking and believing that animals did not have any feelings, that animals had no such thing as emotions, that they don't know fear, they don't understand love, they don't understand anything. So for me, I grew up thinking that animals were just running around doing their thing. All they cared about was maybe if they were hungry, so they would get something to eat. So that was my knowledge, and that was my upbringing. So I never really, the truth is I never really had the heart for animals of any kind, whether it's like animals kept for pets like dogs and cats and rabbits, hamsters. Like, I just never really warmed up to them growing up. I never really had pets of my own, so I couldn't relate to a lot of my friends growing up, because they would have pets and they would be so in love and so loving towards their pets. I couldn't make that connection. I was just very oblivious, you know. Another thing was that when it came to the foods that I ate, although I wasn't particularly into eating meat a lot growing up, even before I turned vegan, I never really gravitated towards meat that much. I was always gravitating towards non-meat, or more seafood. And also I thought that when it came to dairy products like milk and cheese, I legitimately thought that there were cows specifically made for us. Made by, existed. That there were cows specifically existing for us to take their milk, and I just assumed that there were cows that exist for meat, and there are cows that exist for milk, to produce milk for us, for humans. That's what I thought. So as you can imagine, I was very oblivious, and I had very little knowledge about animals, about the food industry, about the meat industry. I just had very little knowledge. And so about last year, around October, September of last year, 2016, my good friend Shanna, she is very involved in helping animals and rescuing animals, and she's very knowledgeable when it comes to animal cruelty. And so she actually started telling me about the animal cruelty that exists in here in Jakarta, Indonesia. And she was just telling me things, like always telling me stories about, there were these dogs abandoned by their owners, and they were rescued and brought into a shelter. And so she would tell me stories about different dogs, different cats, and who have been abandoned. And then she started telling me, hey, I'm cutting down meat. Like, I'm trying to cut down meat. And for me, it was like, okay, whatever. She would tell me, dude, like, your way of eating is actually better because you don't eat a lot of meat, and I'm trying to eat more vegetables and less meat, blah blah blah. And so, to me it was like, okay, cool, that's good for you, but I was just more like, okay, that's, it didn't affect me because I was already not eating a lot of meat. And then I think it was around October, she told me, hey, check out these documentaries if you have time. It's called Cowspiracy and Earthlings and Forks Over Knives. So 3 documentaries that she recommended to me for me to watch. And I was very happy to watch all 3 of them because I'm the type of person that loves watching documentaries, and especially about things that I have never heard about before. So I think I watched Cowspiracy first, and then I watched Forks Over Knives, and then I watched Earthlings. Now, Earthlings is, for me, a documentary that really opened my eyes into the world of animals and into the world of how we human beings use animals, whether that's for our food, for our entertainment purposes, for sports, for fashion, and for pets, So basically, it's not really about veganism, it's more just about animals and how we human beings use them, and a lot of times we mistreat them. And when I watched that documentary, it was the first time I was able to view animals as sentient beings and as beings that have emotions. And for me, coming from a background where I just thought that they didn't know fear, they just don't have the capacity to feel the things that we feel as human beings, it felt like I was being slapped across my face, with reality. I was just so shocked, and I just couldn't believe that we were doing things, when we have been doing things to animals that they really didn't deserve, and in such a cruel way. So I love that documentary because it shows a lot of things that we don't really want to see as human beings, but there are things that we do to animals. So when I watched that, it just opened my eyes, opened my heart for the very first time, and for the very first time, I just could no longer view them as our property, as beings that we could just use and abuse as we please. After watching those 3 documentaries, I decided, all right, I'm gonna cut down. I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. And obviously at that time I was thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know what else am I gonna eat if I don't have anything at all in terms of seafood as well, if I don't have that. So at that time I wanted to like not eat meat anymore, but at the same time I didn't think it was realistic for me to not eat seafood. So I became pescatarian. I became pescatarian from October last year until maybe it was July this year, roughly. And it was fine. As a pescatarian, it wasn't too difficult, but I just remember feeling like, okay, this is still a bit weird because I'm kind of picking and choosing what I eat, and I'm still eating animals, at the end of the day. And so I don't know, it didn't feel quite right for me, although for me it was easy for me to do, but it wasn't. I don't know, inside I just felt like I still needed to do more. I wanted to remind myself again, I wanted to re-educate myself again and remind myself again why I am even a pescatarian in the first place. So I came across this documentary called What the Health. And so I watched it, and after that I was like, okay, that's it, I'm going to become vegetarian. I thought, there's no excuse anymore, I'm just going to cut down everything. I can't support an industry that just slaughters animals. I just couldn't support an industry that induces a lot of pain to the animals. For me, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to support it in any way. So I started becoming vegetarian, and which was fine again. It was a bit of an adjustment, but I was able to do it, and I was able to find meals and restaurants that had vegetarian options in it. And then obviously at that point I thought I can be vegetarian, but I don't know if I can give up dairy. I don't know if I can give up cheese. I don't know how I'm gonna do if I don't have my pizza. So again, I thought it's not gonna be possible for me to be vegan, because vegan is way, like that is too extreme. Like I can't. For me, it's way too hard for me to do. For me to follow like and actually commit to. So in my head, I was like, okay, I can't do vegan. I'm just gonna become a vegetarian. And then the point where I decided to become vegan was actually when I went to one of my favorite Italian restaurants in Jakarta. It's called Signora, and it's in South Jakarta. It's the bomb diggity. It's such a good Italian restaurant. Anyway, so I went there and I had lunch, and usually I would eat the lasagna, the pesto lasagna, and usually I would order the cheese pizza, El Quattro, I think, like 4 different cheeses in one pizza. And those were my 2 favorite things to eat there. And at that point, I decided, let's not order the pasta and pizza with cheese. Let's order something that in a menu that had no cheese, had no dairy. It's vegan, So I did that. I think I ordered like penne arrabbiata and some fried zucchini salad, something fried salad. And I was able to enjoy my lunch, and I wasn't miserable. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, I was able to not eat cheese. Then what else is holding me back? If I'm able to have my lunch like outside in a restaurant where it's vegan, then to me it was like, then there's no reason for why I'm not vegan, or why I'm not trying to at least be vegan. And then, so from that point on, I decided, all right, I'm going to be vegan from now on. For me, being vegan is definitely not about diet, or it's not about the health benefits, although it's a bonus, definitely a big bonus. And although I do feel a lot of benefits that comes from feeding your body with good things, with good foods. Although, yeah, I do feel a lot of benefits, but for me, being vegan is not really about that. It's more about how can I do my part so that the industry, the meat industry, can change. And it goes beyond just a diet. It goes beyond just about health. It's about the ethical side of things, and it's about me living my life happily and eating well and enjoying my food, whatever, without supporting the industry that causes a lot of pain to animals. And I am now a very different person to how I was before I knew about all of this. And I gotta thank my friend Shanna for introducing me to this whole animal cruelty, veganism bubble that I had no idea about. I was not aware of it, and I'm so grateful to her for introducing that to me, because, and it wasn't as if she was trying to convince me of anything. She was just casually like, hey, check it out, if you want to learn more about it. And for me, it was probably one of the best things that's happened to my life, because now I have this heart that I never had before for animals. And now it's like, if I think about the conditions that they are in, it gets me emotional. And I mean, looking back, I would have thought I would have reacted this way. And I'm so glad that I am where I am right now. And the reason I want to make this video, and the reason why I want to share it, is because I want to raise awareness, and I also want to maybe educate or maybe put forward something that maybe some people out there still have no clue about, like me, like how I was. I also want to share that none of my family members are vegan. So when I eat at home, my parents, my family, they still cook meat, and they still eat meat, and they know that I'm vegan, and I know that they're not, and we get along just fine. You know, I mean, like me and my family, we respect each other. Like they understand my decision is a personal thing, and again, I don't judge them. I'm not trying to make them turn vegan. I think everybody has their own timing and pace, and I don't think that, you know, everybody has their own way of doing things that feels right for them. And so this feels right for me, and this makes me very happy. And so that is my story of how I became vegan. So thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions for me, like, I'd be happy to answer your questions. Okay, bye.